Yad vacha anabhiditam. That which cannot be revealed by the speech. Yena vag abhyudyate. But that by which the speech is revealed. Yen manasana manude. Yena ahur manomatam. Everywhere, then this whole thing is taken, That's what actually is more relevant here in terms of knowing. Because nobody knows by words. But this section beginning with this is the first word, mantra. Yad vacha anabhiditam. Yena vag abhyudyate. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. That which cannot be revealed by the speech or revealed by the words, but that because of which the speech is uttered, or that because of which the word is able to reveal its object. There in that discussion of the word speech or vag, Bhashyakara said that vag can mean vagindriyam, it is organ of speech, or by the vag also can mean a general sound, or by the vag we can also mean the words which are associated with specific objects, or by vag also we can mean the sentences which reveal particular meaning. All of these can be meant by the word vag. And in Keno Upanishad, Padabhashya, all kind of long discussions were there. What is this vag? Some people say sphota and this and that. But anyway, whatever be the meaning of vag, yad vacha anabhiditam, that which cannot be revealed by the speech, meaning it cannot be a sound which is uttered by the organ of speech, or it cannot be a word that is uttered by the organ of speech, or it cannot be the meaning of the word which is revealed by the word. So vag, if you say vag indriya, then what does vag indriya produce? A sound, or it produces articulated sound which is called a word, or by vag if you mean word, then the word reveals an object, and therefore Brahman is not an object that can be revealed by word, nor is it a word that can be uttered by the organ of speech. Then what is it? It is that by which even the organ of speech is able to utter, or it is that by which the word has the capability of revealing its meaning. So what enables a word like a pot to reveal the object pot? Is that what gives that capability to the word? Word is an inert sound. How can it have the capability of revealing that object pot? And still, when a word pot is occurred, how the object pot immediately strikes in our mind? Who does that? Or with what does it happen? That because of which the word is able to reveal its object. That is Atma. So don't look at the word. The word has to go therefore. So Vedanta will talk of Lakshana Vritti and things like that, or Chintya Shakti or whatever. They don't get hung with the word. The word has to disappear. Always, of course. Word being a sound symbol must always disappear and give its place to the meaning. As even all these words are uttered, the words no more remain in your mind. What actually occurs or strikes in the mind is the meaning that is communicated by these words. So a supreme sacrifice is always made by every symbol. And a supreme sacrifice is made by a sound symbol called word, which completely gives itself up and totally gives its place to the meaning. And so the word has to go away and the meaning must take place. But this can happen when the meaning is what we call vachyartha. Then it happens very easily and very properly. But when an object is not vachyartha or not directly the meaning of the word, then the word remains and meaning does not take place. So Brahma word remains, meaning does not take place. Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta, all words remain, meaning does not take place because the Brahman is not a vachyartha. If the word Nitya had a meaning at all, they say that every word must have a meaning. The word Nitya does not have a meaning in that sense. The word Ghata, Pata, Mata have meanings. But word Nitya does not have a meaning. Word Shuddha does not have a meaning. Word Buddha does not have a meaning. Because you cannot visualize Shuddham, Buddham, Nityam, Muktam. Nothing can be visualized. Therefore, in conventional sense, those words don't have meanings. And still the knowledge has to take place. How does it take place? So by Lakshana Vritti. In some way the word goes away and in its place comes associated meaning, It's all a very grey area. But how the knowledge takes place is a grey area. But it is still knowledge and not anything else. That also is that they want to make very clear. But how knowledge takes place? How can the word, by Lakshana Vritti, whatever names you give, they're all again the words. This is in Upanishad, none of these words appear. In Samra, Bhashya also these words don't appear. Because these words were invented later on. As a scientist finds the need to explain certain phenomenon, they invent different expressions and words, and so later teachers invented these words, or they developed these words in order to convey what is contained in these statements. But then they say that Shakya Sambandha, the Gangayam Ghosha, that there is a hut, or there is what you call a village, on Ganga, you say. Or there is a hamlet rather. There is a hamlet on the Ganges. So what is Ganges? Ganges is that water flow, the flowing water is called Ganges. So they say that, alright, when the mind hears that there is a hamlet on the Ganges, immediately mind sees the impossibility of what we call the Vachyartha or direct meaning, that there cannot be a hamlet, meaning a group of hutments on the Ganges, meaning on the stream of water. Therefore, Ganga Tira. So bank of the river, which is the associated, Shakya Sambandha must be there. A possible Sambandha or the association is there. So bank which is something related to Ganga, that is where that Ghosh or the hamlet is. That's how the mind understands. This is called Lakshana Vritti. That by the Lakshana, the word Ganga is replaced by Tira. So, Tire Ghosha. So, that is how the word conveys. But somebody said, how does the mind understand this? Because along with the stream of water, many other things could be associated. Like Jalachara, like aquatic animals are also there in the Ganga. And they are also very much associated with the flow. Because when you think of Ganga, you also think of crocodiles. It's not that when you think of Ganga, you always think of necessarily the bank of the river. You can think of also crocodiles and rocks and all kinds of things you can understand. How did the mind not understand the hamlet on the aquatic animals or on the rocks, and understood only hamlet as on the bank? There is something here by which this mind was able to connect this, And therefore, was it the word that revealed, or how does this thing get revealed? That's why they talk of this Antahakaranam, Samskrutam Antahakaranam. That whenever the words in this manner can convey the meaning, particularly by vritti other than Vachyartha, which is called Lakshyartha, then definitely samskara is required. In Vachyartha also, ordinary samskara is required, that you must know what Ghata, Pata, Matha is, then the words convey. But particularly when you communicate by Lakshana vritti, that you want other people to be in the dark, and the two of these people communicate with each other in Lakshana vritti. Or you say something which this fellow alone can understand, And suppose you want to manipulate in this manner. In that case, then the other person will understand only when that proper samskara or background is there, Otherwise it will not be understood. So other fellows are standing around, they just look, Because they don't have that samskara. And the person who gets the message has the right samskara. So Samskrutam Antahakaranam is required for Lakshana vritti, they say, That is how. So context is required. That's why, since Vedanta conveys by Lakshana vritti, therefore Samskrutam Antahakaranam is required. What is Samskrutam in this case is devoid of all these Ragadvesha, etc. or endowed with Samadhi Shatak Sampatti. But anyway, in some manner, that is how these words are able to convey. It is something that is confirmed by the wise people, and therefore we have to accept it. Otherwise it will become impossible. It is a very frustrating thing. That Brahman cannot be revealed by a word, Brahman cannot be experienced, Brahman cannot be seen, Brahman cannot be acquired, and stuff like that. Very frustrating. And everybody gets frustrated. But frustration is because that thing there is inside. That something must be seen, acquired, experienced, whatever it is. That has to resolve. That alone is called Vairagya. Ultimate Vairagya is that even that thing also gets resolved. That something is to be acquired. Not that I sleep. Normally when nothing is to be acquired, nothing is to be experienced, nothing is seen, I fall asleep, No. I am quiet and tranquil, So, usual experience is कुछ करने का नहीं है, चलो सो जाओ. नहीं. कुछ करने का नहीं means you are with yourself. That's what is meant here. That is why samskara is required. Otherwise you don't require samskara. For not doing something is very natural. Just fall asleep. Samskara is that you are not doing something and still you are awake and alert. Anyway, but then, so, coming back to this thing, Yadvacha, Anabhisam, you wonder where you started this. But that which cannot be revealed by the word, the idea is that It's not a vachyas of the word. It is still lakshyas, all right, but then it's not the word that does it. Something else does it, all right. Whatever it is that does, word of course does it, because without the word it cannot be done. But that by which the word gains the ability to reveal its meaning is Brahman. And continue that series. Yan manasana manude yena ahur manomatam tadev brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasade. That which cannot be apprehended by the mind, but that by which they say the mind is pervaded. That which cannot be apprehended by the mind, but that because of which the mind gains the ability to apprehend. So that with which because of which they are able to apprehend, but that which cannot be apprehended by the mind is Brahman. So stop looking at the mind, meaning stop trying to apprehend. That because of which the mind is able to see, or mind is able to know, that is Brahman. Yan manasana manute iti shrutya lokah manasa yad brahma na janati. And then yat chakshushana pashyati yena chakshumshi pashyati, etc. So that whole series goes on, where the Brahman is shown to be not an object of karma, or not an object of upasana, or not an object of even conventional knowledge. Yan manasa manuta iti shrutya lokah manasa yad brahma na janati. Manuta means janati. Yan manasa manuta meaning yad manasa na janati. That by which people lokah manasa yad brahma na janati, people do not know Brahman by mind. Iti avishayatva muktva, that Brahman is not an object of mind. Then tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. Tvam vidhi, all right. It says, know that Brahman. Then how do you know? You say that which cannot be known by the mind, but mind is the only instrument that we have for knowledge, and you are saying that that which cannot be known by the mind, that you know. How do you do that? That looks like a contradiction. But what kind of knowledge is negated is said in the next line. Nedam yadidam upasate. Tadeva means what? Avedyam Brahma. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. So avedyam Brahma. Avedyatve sati. Swayam prakasham. So that which cannot be known and which nevertheless shines, So it is Vishaya, all right, and it is not a Vedya. So Tadeva Avedyam Brahma Tvam Vidhi. May you, that unknowable Brahman, or that which cannot be objectified, unobjectifiable. Avedya means what? That which cannot be objectified by the mind. That Brahman, may you know. Yattu upadi vishishtam devatadikam iti idam iti upasate. I think that should devatadikam idam iti upasate. Janaha na idam Brahma. I think that one idam should be added there. Devatadikam idam iti upasate. Janaha na idam Brahma ityartha. However, yattu upadi vishishtam. So that which is endowed with upadi or some qualification. What is it? Devatadikam, some devata. Which is upasate, idam iti upasate, which people worship as idam, as this. So that which can be denoted as this, so that cannot be Brahman. So avishayatva mukta, pratyakshadi avishayatva mukta, nedamiti. Idamiti idantvena nirdishtam na brahma iti uktam ityartha. So that idam meaning idantena nirdishtam. So idam iti upasate. Therefore those people who worship Brahman as idam, as something that can be denoted as this, that is not Brahman. Says Purnanandiya on the page 160, Tathacha Brahmanah Jnana Vishayatva Rupam Upasana Vishayatva Rupam Chet Karmatvam Tasya Pratishedat Pakshe Hetu Asiddhehe Na Anumanam Swasadhya Sadhakam Iti Bhavaha. Tathacha Brahmanah, Tatha in this manner, Brahmanah Jnana Vishayatva Rupam Upasana Vishayatva Rupam Chet Karmatvam. The question was asked earlier by Ratna Prabhakara. So, kim jnane brahmana karmakaragatvam uda upasanayam. You say that Brahman becomes the object of the act of knowing, or Brahman according to you becomes the object of the act of meditation. Said that Upanishad itself rejects or dismisses or negates rather Brahman as the object of knowing, anyadeva tad viditat, as well as object of upasana, nedam yadidam upasate. So tathacha brahmana jnana vishayatva rupam yat karmatvam, it cannot be the object of knowledge, upasana vishayatvarupam chet karmatvam, nor can it be an object of meditation. Tasya pratishedat, by negation of this both kind of objectivity in Brahman, pakshe hetu asiddhehe. What is the hetu? See earlier in the page 159 in the fifth line, nano brahma karyangam karakatvat patnyavekshana karma karaka ajyadivata. This was anumanam. So Brahma karyangam becomes sadhyam. That Brahma is the anga of one karya or karma. Why do you say karakatvat? Because it is one of the accessory of kriya. How do you say drishtanta? Patni avekshana karma karaka ajyavata. Like ajya or the ghee, which is an object of the act of seeing on the part of the yajamana patni. Similarly also Brahman being an object which is object of act. Therefore we say that it is karmangam. So it is said, pakshe hetu asiddhehe. Pakshe is Brahma and hetu is karakatvam. We say that Brahman cannot be karaka with reference to jnana kriya or upasana kriya, and therefore in Brahman karakatvam is rejected. Karakatvam means an accessory in karma. Hetu asiddhehe na anumanam. Essentially, you have to show that there is hetu in the paksha. It's important. You say that parvato vandiman dhumatvat. You say that the hillock is fiery because there is smoke. So dhuma becomes a hetu. Only when the hetu is there in the paksha, so that the hillock becomes paksha. And hetu is a dhuma. When dhuma is present in the paksha, then alone sadhya siddhi is there, that the fire is there. But if there is no smoke on the hillock, and then if you make a statement, I say there is smoke, there is a fire on that hillock. Why? Just like that, you must give some hetu. Whenever you make a statement, some reason must be given. So because there is smoke. If there is no smoke, where is the smoke? Oh, I thought there was smoke. What happened is, there was some kind of in his eye, he saw some kind of a movement before his eyes, of the vapor. So he thought there was smoke there. Therefore he thought there is fire. When we show him by clearing his glasses and things like that, we show him that there is no smoke, then it's okay, there is no fire. So, praspakshe hetu asiddhehe. When paksha, when you show that there is no hetu, then that's sadhyat. So, na anumanam, that earlier anumana or inference, na swasadhya sadhakam. That inference in case of paksha or Brahman cannot bring about the sadhya, or namely karmangatvam. That Brahman cannot be proven to be an anga or accessory of karma, because hetu, namely karakatvam, is not there in Brahma. All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Atha Om Atha Om Atha Tattva Samanvayad. Page 159. Tvam bhutasya brahmanaha tadjnanasya cha न कयाचिद्युक्त्या शक्यः कार्यानुप्रवेशः कल्पयितुम् न च विधिक्रियाकर्मत्वेन कार्यानुप्रवेशो ब्रह्मणः अन्यदेव तद्विदितात् अथो अविदितादधि इति विधिक्रिया कर्मत्व प्रतिषेधात् येनेदं सर्वं विजानाति तं केन विजानीयात् इति च तथा उपास्ति क्रिया कर्मत्व प्रतिषेधोऽपि भवति यद्वाचानभ्युदितं येन वागभ्युद्यते इति अविषयत्वं ब्रह्मण उपन्यस्य तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते इति. Says Brahman cannot be the karma of Vedic Kriya or Upasana Kriya because Shruti dismisses it or Shruti negates that. Anyadev tad viditat atho aviditat adhi. By saying that Brahman is different from Viditam. Viditam is Vedic Kriya Karma. So that which can be known is the object of the act of knowledge. So the object of knowledge can be said to be the Vedic Kriya Karma, object of the act of knowing. Brahman doesn't become an object of act of knowing. Nor does Brahman become the object of the act of meditation or upasana. Because tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate tadevam ev avedyam brahmanatvam vidhi. May you know the self as or that to be Brahman is avedyam. Yad manasana manude, which cannot be objectified by the mind or the speech or the sense organs, that avedyam in that sense, that which is unknowable by the organs of the perception as well as the mind, tvam vidhi nedam, that is Brahman. That is how may you know. Na idam iti yadidam upasate. So that which people worship as this, that is not Brahman, but that which cannot be objectified by the sense organs of the mind, may you know that to be Brahman. So for upasana, objectification is required. And upasana, objectification should take place by mind. Therefore, yan manasana manute. That is how avishayatvam brahmana upanyasya. Shruti herself presented Brahman as that which is not the vishaya or the object of mind, and then said, na idam yadidam upasate. Na idam iti yad idam devatadikam upasate tad brahmana. That which people worship as idam, like this devatas, etc., that is not Brahman. May you know it as such. So that Vishayatvam of Brahma is negated by Shruti herself. Slowly you are learning, when you say that Brahman is not the object of knowledge also, in order to clear it up from any kind of objectivity, you are landing yourself into a difficulty, which is what is brought up here, page 160. Says Ratnaprabha, ब्रह्मणः शाब्दबोध अविषयत्वे प्रतिज्ञा हानि. You say that Brahmana Shabdabodha Avishayatve. Brahman cannot become the object of Shabdabodha, meaning Shabda Janita Bodha. So knowledge that is generated as a result of teaching, Upadesha. If Brahman is not the object of knowledge, it is not Vedic Kriya Karma. And knowledge or the Jnanam is generated as a result of Shabda, Tattvamasi. So Tattvamasi should generate in the listener a knowledge, and that is how Brahman is known. If you say that Brahman cannot be known by any act of knowledge, if this is what you say, then pratignya hanihi. What is pratignya? Earlier Shastra Yonitvat. Shastram Yoni, yasya tat Shastra Yoni. That Brahman is that of which Shastra is the Yoni. So Shastra is the Pramanam. So Shastra is the Pramanam for Brahman. So you say that Brahman is known by the Pramanam or the means of knowledge, which is Shastra. In which case, that Pratignya, that Shastra is the Pramanam for Brahman, that itself will be questioned here or threatened, or will be refuted if you say that Brahman cannot become the object of knowledge. Because you yourself have presented Brahman as that which can be known by Shastra, or that for which Shastra is the only valid means of knowledge. If Shastra is a valid means of knowledge, which means Shastra must generate the knowledge, which means Brahman has to be known. And Brahman can be known only through Shastra. That is how Brahman has been presented by you. And now you say that Brahman cannot be the object of the act of knowledge. Does it mean that you are contradicting your own self? Says Puranadiya, Brahmana Shabda iti, Brahma Shastra Pramanakam, Shastra Tatparya Vishayatva. This is Pratigna. So Brahma Shastra Pramanakam, Shastram Pramanam, Yasyadat Shastra Pramanakam. Brahma is that of which Shastra is a Pramanam. Meaning Shastra is Pramanam for Brahma. Why is it so? Samanvaya, this is another Pratigna. Samanvayat, Anvayat, Shastra Tatparya Vishayatva. Because Brahma is the Vishaya, the object of Tatparya, purport of the Shastra. In case of the Shabda, that which is Tatparya is the meaning of the Shabda. That was said earlier. So therefore, if Tatparya of the purport of all the Upanishads is in Brahman, that means Brahman is that which is revealed by the Upanishads. What do we say is revealed by a Shabda or a sentence? That which is Tatparya of that Shabda? Or that which is Tatparya or purport of that sentence alone is what is said to be revealed by the sentence. And if the purport of all the Upanishads is in Brahman, then Brahman is what is revealed by the Upanishad. Therefore, Shastra Tatparya Vishayatvat. And that is how we say that Upanishads reveal Brahman. Shabdatmaka Shastrajanya Bodha Vishayatvarupam Brahmana Shastra Pramanakam Trutiya Sutre Pratignadam. Thus, in the third sutra, the Pratigna was Shabdatmaka Shastrajanya Bodha Vishayatvarupam Brahmana. When you say Brahma is Shastra Pramanakam, Pramana is that, Pramajanakam Pramanam. So Shastra generates a valid knowledge about Brahman, and therefore Brahman becomes the object of knowledge that is generated by Shastra. Shabdatmaka Shastra. Shastra, the Upanishad here, which Shabdatmakam of the nature of the body of words. So Tajjanya Bodha Vishayatva Rupam Brahmana. Brahma is that which is of the nature of that which is known through Shastra, which is in the form of words. Shastra Pramanakatvam, that is called Brahmana Shastra Pramanakatvam. When you say Shastra is Pramanam for Brahma, that is Brahma is that which is known with the help of Shastra, which is in the form of words. Therefore Shabda Bodha. Trutiya Sutre Pratignadam. And this was the Pratigna, this was the proposition that you have made in the third sutra by saying Shastra Unitvad. Samprati Shastrajanya Bodha Avishayatve. And now if you say that Brahman is not the Vishaya of the knowledge generated by Shastra, you said Anyadevatad Viditat. So Brahman is different from that which can be known. And therefore you are presenting Brahman as not an object of the knowledge of the Shastra also. Shastrajanya Bodha Avishayatve Pratignya Hanihi. In that case, there is a Hani, there is a contradiction of the very Pratignya on the proposition that you have made in the third sutra. Iti Shankituhu Abhipraya. This is what the Shankitra says. Brahmana Shabda Bodha Avishayatve Pratignya Hanihi iti Shankitu Shankate Shankita Shankate. The fellow who is Shankita, means the fellow who is doing Shanka. Avishayatve, and this Shanka is presented by Bhashyakara up there. Avishayatve Brahmana Shastra Yonitvanupapattihi iti ched. Avishayatve Brahmana. If Brahma is not the Vishaya or the object of knowledge, Brahman cannot be objectified. Then Shastra Yonitva Anupattihi. Then in the third sutra I said Shastra is a Yonihi or Karanam or Pramanam for Brahman, and that Pratignahanihi Anupattihi, that is not tenable. Your statement in the third sutra becomes untenable. Which means you are contradicting here what you yourself have said earlier. If this is the question, then what's the answer? The Ratnaprabhakara here alerts us or tells us about what the answer is going to be. It says Vedanta Janya Vritti Krita Avidyana Vritti Phalashalitaya Shastra Pramanakatvam Vritti Krita Vritti Vishayatve. That's how it should be read. Vritti Vishayatvepi. Not Vritti Krita Avishayatvepi. You could put it this way, but Vritti Vishayatvepi Swaprakasha Brahmana Vritti Abhivyakta Sfurana Avishayatvad aprameyatvamidi pariharati. So they want to establish that Brahman can be known and still it is aprameya. Aprameya is that which cannot be measured or which cannot be objectified, and still Brahman can be known. And this is how the knowledge of Brahman is now being presented. This is to clarify what is the nature of knowledge. Vedanta janya vritti krita or avidya nivritti phalashalitaya. So what is the phalam? Phala Vedanta janya, meaning Vedanta bodha janya. And Vedanta bodha, the teaching Upadesha of Vedanta, namely Tattvamasi. Tad janya vritti. So Brahmakar vritti. Vritti is Brahmakar vritti. So that vritti that is generated as a result of the teaching of Upanishad. What does that vritti do? Avidya vritti phalam. The result of that vritti, aham brahma, is elimination or removal of ignorance. Vritti phalashalitaya shastra pramanakatvam. The idea is that Shastra does not reveal Brahman as such. No Pramana reveals anything anyway. Pramana anyway what it does, it always removes the veil of ignorance. But still in case of the ordinary objects, that question of revealing also is there, inasmuch as this object is taken to be jada or inert. And therefore we say that the way the object is known, as we discussed yesterday also, is that a chakshusha vritti or a vritti leaves from the chakshu, let us say, in this case, and contacts this particular object and takes the form of this object. Actually, this object also has its adhishthanam as sat and chit. But the chit, which is adhishthanam of this object, and chit of the consciousness, which is the nature of the knower, both this chit must actually become one. That which separates the consciousness that the knower is and the consciousness that the known is, there is something that separates them. And that's the reason why the knowledge is not there. And therefore, that separation is removed by what we call the vritti. That the mind along with the consciousness lives through chakshu, eyes in this case, then contacts the objects, object assumes the form of the object, and that is how a vritti or the thought form of the form of that object is generated. Which vritti is supposed to remove the ignorance or the veil of ignorance around this object. And still something is required by which the consciousness of the knower and the consciousness of the known, they are contacted. And that is done in the second step. That when the vritti, say of a ghata, so ghatakara vritti is formed in the mind, then the witness consciousness naturally gets reflected in that vritti because it is the nature of the vritti to reflect consciousness. And that reflected consciousness reveals that vritti or the object of the vritti, namely ghata. And that is how that ghata jnanam takes place. I am ghata, this is ghata. That knowledge takes place when that ghata is revealed by the consciousness reflected in ghatakara vritti. So any object is revealed by the consciousness reflected in a vritti of that form. So a pata is revealed by the consciousness reflected in patakara vritti. And therefore these two steps must take place. First of all, a ghatakara or patakara vritti must first take place. And of course, once it takes place, consciousness will necessarily be reflected because it is the nature of the vritti to reflect consciousness. And that is how the object of that vritti is revealed. This is how the knowledge, perception is looked upon as taking place. That's the reason why we don't know everything, even though I am consciousness. And even though the world also is nothing but the appearance of consciousness alone, and still we do not know everything, for the simple reason that for a specific knowledge of a given thing to take place, this vritti must take place. And as we said yesterday, so Brahma does not fall quite in this category. The object needs to be revealed by consciousness. Brahman doesn't need to be revealed because it is self-revealing. And therefore the so-called second step, which is called phalavyapti, meaning that object of the vritti being illumined by the reflected consciousness, that phalavyapti doesn't have to be there. All that is necessary is that veil of ignorance should be removed. That there is ignorance. That in spite of the fact that Atma is Brahma, I do not know that. That's a fact. So there is something that veils that particular fact, and that is what we call ignorance. And therefore, what Shastra does in this case is the removal of the ignorance. That which veils, and what is that ignorance? In the form of various notions. That's the reason why what the Shastra does is, it takes the various notions that we entertain about ourselves and then, places to the scrutiny. So scrutinizes those conclusions or notions. And that is how the words of the scriptures were made to see how a given thing is a notion. When a notion is known as a notion, then it drops off. When mithya is known as mithya, then it's not a burden at all. And this is how Shastra reveals the mithyatvam of the notions, mithyatvam of the ahankara. And that is how ahankara drops off, revealing which was veiling so far. Because what veils that rope from my sight is the conclusion that this is a snake. It is that conclusion, I am Sarpaha, is what really veils that rope. And therefore, when that notion goes away, which is born of ignorance, then the snake also goes away. And similarly also, that is how Brahman is revealed as the very self. But the second step of revealing Brahman is not required because Brahman is self-revealing. And in this manner it is said, Anya Devatad Viditat. Inasmuch as Viditam means that which is illumined by the reflected consciousness, Brahman doesn't fall in that category. Anya Devatad Atho Aviditat Adhi. But it is different from Aviditam or unknown inasmuch as the removal of ignorance is there. So inasmuch as the removal of ignorance is there, so we do not say it is Aviditam. And inasmuch as that so-called Phalavyapti is not there, therefore we do not call it Viditam. So this is how this statement, that it's different from unknown and different from known, that brings about this peculiar prakriya. That knowledge takes place in those two steps. So ordinary object is both. It is Viditam. So ignorance also is removed, as well as the Phalavyapti or the revealing of the object also is there. So it is said here that Vedanta Janya Vritti Krita Avidyana Vritti Phala, that Vedanta Janya Vritti, which is Brahmakara Vritti, which removes ignorance pertaining to Brahma. And therefore, by way of removal of ignorance of Brahman, which is a self, Shastra Pramanakatvam, Shastra becomes a Pramanam for Brahma. Vritti Vishayatvebi, in that sense, therefore, or Vritti Krita Avishayatvebi also. That Brahman doesn't become Vishaya in the sense of Phalavyapti. Saprakasha Brahmana Vritti Abhivyakta Sphurana Avishayatvat. Saprakasha Brahmana, since Brahman is Saprakasham, self-effulgent, therefore Vritti Abhivyakta Sphurana Avishayatvam. So Vritti Abhivyakta Sphuranam is what we call Phalam. So Vritti reflects consciousness, and thus it reveals or manifests the reflected consciousness. And Sphurana Vishayatvat, that reflected consciousness reveals the object, and then Brahman is not the object or Vishaya of that kind of Sphuranam or revealing by the reflected consciousness. So we say it is Aprameyam. In that sense, Aprameyatvam is there. So Brahman is known all right, but still it is not known in a conventional manner or in a manner in which a conventional object is known. Iti pariharti. Now, this is what is meant. So you can see Bhashyakara implies these concepts, but then these words are not used. The Vritti Vyapti, these are all the technical terms developed later on in order to understand what is being said by Bhashyakara. And therefore there can be slight differences in opinions or understanding of what Bhashyakara says. And sometimes some Vedantic teachers try to give emphasis to one kind of a prakriya or model, and some other teachers may give importance to some other model, and thus some minor differences may exist even in the Vedantic teachers in terms of explanation, mode of it. Nobody has any difference of opinion as far as the fundamental thing is concerned. But in terms of the prakriyas or the process, sometimes there are minor differences. Now Purnanandaya says, Brahmana Shastrajanya Bodhakrita Avidyana Vritti Phalashalitva Rupa Shastra Pramanakatvam Abhivagamyade. Meaning we accept the Shastra as Pramanam in as much as it serves the purpose of removing the ignorance by creating the appropriate vritti in the mind when it is in the proper frame. Na Shastrajanya Bodha Vishayatva Rupam Drishyatvapatte. But then we do not say that it becomes the object of the vritti. So vritti serves the purpose of revealing the Brahman, but vritti does not objectify. A ghatakara vritti objectifies ghata, whereas brahmakara vritti does not objectify Brahma. Although ghatakara vritti does two things. It removes ignorance of ghata as well as it objectifies ghata. Here brahmakara vritti removes ignorance of Brahman but doesn't have the second step of objectifying Brahman, because Brahman cannot be objectified and doesn't have to be objectified also. Drishyatva apattehe. If you say Brahman becomes an object of the brahmakara vritti, then it becomes drishyam like a ghata. Aneka shruti virodhacha, and that would contradict many shrutis which present Brahman as not the object of knowledge in that sense. Tatha cha tatra bodha vishayatvena tasya apratignyatvatvat. So in that sense, Brahman, even though it is said that Shastra yonitvat, Shastra is a pramanam for Brahman, meaning Brahman can be known by Shastra, not in the conventional sense that the brahmakara vritti objectifies Brahman. That is not our pratignya. Our pratignya is Brahman is known by Shastra. We do not say that Brahman is objectified by Shastra. So pratignya has not been of the nature of presenting Brahman as the object of knowledge, but our pratignya is that Shastra is that which removes ignorance of Brahman and thus makes Brahman known. So Brahman can be known with the help of Shastra. That doesn't mean that we mean to say that Brahman is objectified. Bodha vishayatvena, Vishaya here is that which is objectified. Tasya pratignyatvatvat na pratignahani iti bhava. And therefore, our pratignahani is not there, inasmuch as we present Brahman as that which is known through Shastra. And this is what Bhashyakara says, na iti. Says Bhashya there. Na avidya kalpita bheda nivritti paratva shastrasya. Says Brahmana Shastra Yonitva Anupattihi iti na. No, there is no problem here. That Brahman, that we will contradict what we have stated in the third sutra. Avidya kalpita bheda nivritti. All that the Shastra does is what? Nivritti param Shastram. It removes what? Bheda. Bheda means a duality. That distance between Aham and Brahman, that is a Bheda. And that Bheda is what? Kalpita Bheda. That Brahman is separate from me, or that I am not Brahman, this is something that is Kalpana, meaning it's a notion. That notional duality. And that is generated from what? Avidya. So that notional duality, which is the product of ignorance, only that is removed by Shastra. And that's all that the function that the Shastra performs. Now Purnanandaya goes ahead to give a rather long discourse on this topic here. Says the second paragraph, Nanu Brahmana Bodha Avishayatve Katham Avidya Nivritti. You say that Brahma is not Bodha Vishaya, Brahma is not the object of knowledge. In that case, how can there be Avidya Nivritti or removal of ignorance? Jnana Ajnanayoho Samana Vishayakatva Bhavat Ityaha. So a Jnana Vritti is supposed to remove the ignorance pertaining to that object. Here you are saying that a Jnana Vritti is there, Brahmakara Vritti is there, and still Brahman is not the object of that Vritti, which means that Vritti does not seem to reveal Brahman, and therefore Brahman is not revealed by that Vritti on one hand, and therefore then what reveals Brahman? Something else reveals Brahman. So, Jnana Ajnanayoho Samana Vishayakatva Abhavat. You see, Ajnana is Ajnana Virodhi. And therefore, Jnana and Ajnana, both of them should have the same Vishaya. There is Ghata Ajnanam and Ghatakara Vritti removes that Ajnanam. Meaning the knowledge removes that about which there is an ignorance. So Ghata Jnanam removes the ignorance of Ghata. So Ajnanam also had its locus in Ghata and Jnanam also has its locus in Ghata. And that's how we say Jnana and Ajnana must have the Samana Vishayakatvam. Here on the other hand you say that there is ignorance of Brahman and this Vritti, that is Brahmakara Vritti, doesn't objectify Brahman. Brahman doesn't become the object of that Vritti. In which case the ignorance of Brahman is removed by something else apparently. And therefore what removes ignorance is different from what creates ignorance. In that sense, that is how it is said, Jnana Jnanayoho समान विषयकत्व अभावात् इत्यतः वृत्ति विषयत्वेपि और वृत्तिकृत अविषयत्वेपि इति अप्रमेयत्वम् इति. Mean Brahman is apramayam. How it is that he proceeds here? Shabdabodha avishayatvam iti yavat. Shabdabodha avishayatvam. Apramayatvam meaning it is not something that is objectified by Shabdabodha, meaning the vritti. Shabdabodha is the Shabdajanya vritti. Anytime Shabdabodha is the knowledge of the generated by words is the vritti that takes place as a result of words. So as a result of words, the vritti takes place. As a result of words, Brahman is not objectified. Usually a word serves the purpose of objectifying an object. So word ghata objectifies also an object. Here, that word Brahman does not do that. Doesn't present before you Brahman as some object. If it does, then that is not nedam yadidam upasate. So they want to negate that. Suppose by utterance of the word Shuddha, Buddha, Mukta, if anything creates in your mind a visualization or a conceptualization of something which you visualize or objectify, that is not Brahman. And therefore Brahman is a very subject, and therefore it cannot in that sense become a visualized object. In that sense it is apramayatvam, that Brahman cannot be visualized. Or don't try to create a concept in your mind. Or if a word creates a concept in your mind, then understand that that is not knowledge. That is what we intend. In that sense, aprameyatum shabdabodha avishayatvam iti yavat. So, says he himself, avidya nivrityartham kevala vritti vyapti rupam brahmanah shastrajanya vritti vishayatvam gaunam abhivagamyate. This we already discussed. Avidya nivrityartham, for the removal of ignorance. केवल वृत्ति व्याप्ति रूपम ब्रह्मणः शास्त्रजन्य वृत्ति विषयत्वम. We say that Brahma is the Vishaya of the Shastrajanya Vritti in the sense of Kevala Vritti Vyapti Rupam, meaning that Vritti apparently removes ignorance. You cannot say Vritti pervades Brahman or whatever, but Vritti removes ignorance pertaining to Brahman. So Shastrajanya Vritti Vishayatvam Gaunam Apivagamyate. Inasmuch as Vritti eliminates ignorance. Therefore we say that Brahman is revealed by the Vritti, or Brahman is the object of knowledge by the Vritti, inasmuch as the Vritti removes ignorance. Tasya swaprakashatvena Vritti abhivyakta sphurana avishayatvat mukhyatvam वृत्ति प्रतिबिंबित चैतन्याम स्वरूप बोध विषयत्वम तो न अभ्युपगम्यते. But then मुख्यत्वम or मुख्य विषयत्वम, that Brahman still does not become an object of knowledge in a primary sense, that ghata, pata, etc. are called known or prameya in primary sense, in as much as they are revealed by the reflected consciousness in the vritti. In that sense, we do not call Brahma as prameyam. So ghata, pata enjoy prameyatvam. That kind of prameyatvam or knowing or knownness is not enjoyed by Brahman, because Brahman being self-effulgent, so prakashatva on account of his being self-effulgent, vritti abhivyakta sphurana avishayatvat. It being self-effulgent doesn't need to be revealed by consciousness reflected in the vritti. Mukhyatvam vishayatvam na abhigamyate. And therefore, Brahman is not the vishaya of the vritti or of knowledge in a primary sense. And what is that? Vritti pratibimba chaitanyam sharupa. That vritti pratibimba chaitanyam, or that phalavyapta rupa bodha vishayatvam tu na abhivagamyate. Tasmat pratyak abhinna brahmanah shabda bodha avishayatvehi na kapi anupattihi bhava. And therefore, pratyak abhinna brahmanah, Brahman which is non-separate from the self, Shabda Bodha Avishayatve, even we call it Shabda Bodha Avishaya, meaning not an object of the Shabda Bodha or the knowledge. Nakapi Anupapattihi, you should say. So one part should be Nakapi Anupattihi Bhavaha. There is no untenability or illogical in saying that Brahman is not the Vishaya of the Shabda Bodha. Atraidam anusandhayam. Okay, this anusandhanam, this deliberation or this reflection should be carried out here. Vishayatvam dvidham mukhyam gaunam chaidi. So Vishayatvam, being object of knowledge, is twofold, mukhyam and gaunam. In primary sense, a thing can be an object of knowledge or in a secondary sense. Tatra vishishta nishthatvam mukhyatvam keval ahankaradi nishthatvam keval atmanishthatvam va gaunatvam iti evam adhyasa bhashya granthe pratipaditam. Tatra vishishta nishthatvam mukhyatvam vishayatvam. There is adhyasa bhashya when talking about yushmad asmat pratyaya gocharayoho, and that is asmat pratyaya gocharam brahma. In what sense Brahman becomes asmat pratyaya gocharam, or that which is encompassed by the concept asmat or I? So what is that I? I itself has therefore three meanings. One is called, so I in the primary sense, depends on what you call primary, but that is what we call the chaitanyam, the consciousness. And this consciousness is qualified by ahankara. So therefore ahankara vishishta chaitanyam. There is ahankara is there is chaitanyam is there, and ahankara vishishta chaitanyam is there. And therefore that ahankara vishishta chaitanyam is called jiva. So therefore jiva is called ahankara vishishta chaitanya. There is the chaitanyam that is qualified by ahankara or conditioned by ahankara. What is ahankara? Ahankara becomes a visheshanam. And what is chaitanyam? Chaitanyam becomes a visheshya. So ahankara becomes that which qualifies, chaitanyam becomes that which is qualified, and then jiva, which is ahankara vishishta chaitanyam, is the qualified consciousness. So apparently there are three entities. When we use the word I, three things are involved. Actually in the primary sense, I is what we call jiva. Ahankara vishishta. When we say I, we mean jiva, which is ahankara vishishta chaitanyam. Chaitanyam conditioned by the concept of ahankara. Therefore you may say that ahankara is that which qualifies, chaitanyam is that which is qualified, and qualified chaitanyam is called jiva, the ahankara. And therefore the knower in the primary sense is ahankara. But what is ahankara? Chaitanya qualified by ahankara. What is jiva is chaitanya qualified by ahankara. Therefore we say that this jiva could not be unless chaitanya was there. Therefore chaitanya also can be called the knower. And the jiva could not be if chaitanya itself could not have known, because there is no knowerness in chaitanya. So chaitanya also becomes known because there is ahankara vishishtatvam or qualification by ahankara is. So jiva becomes a knower or a pramada in a primary sense. Number one, because of the chaitanya which is there. Without chaitanyam the jiva could not have been. Without chaitanya jiva could not have known. So we may say that it is chaitanya that knows. But in as much as knowerness cannot be in chaitanya, because knowerness involves a modification, therefore we say the ahankara that knows. And therefore ahankara becomes visheshana. Whatever happens to vishishta also comes to visheshana in that sense. So we can say that ahankara also becomes a knower. Pure ahankara or pure chaitanya, both of them in a way become knower. Although in a primary sense, it is the chaitanyam qualified by ahankara or conditioned by ahankara is knower or pramada in a primary sense. In primary sense, pramada is the consciousness of chaitanyam conditioned by ahankara. Pure consciousness cannot have knowerness, because that knowerness also requires a conditioning. Pure ahankara also cannot have knowerness because it is jada. So this knower is a unique combination of jada and chetana, wherein both chetana cannot be primarily the knower because it is nirvikara, nor can jada be primarily knower because it is jada. And therefore this jada vishishta chaitanyam, that is what we call jiva, and that becomes a knower in a primary sense. So primary knowerness is in jiva, and secondary knowerness comes in where? In ahankara as well as in chaitanya. And therefore vishishta nishthatvam mukhyatvam, that jiva nishthatvam, that jiva is the ashraya of this knowledge, is in a primary sense, and keval ahankaradi nishthatvam, keval atmanishthatvam va gaunatvam, that ahankara is the ashraya of knowledge, or the Chaitanya is the ashraya of knowledge, that is in Gauna sense, and that Jiva is the ashraya of knowledge, is in primary sense. So primary is Mukhya and secondary is Gauna. Itevam Adhyasa Bhashya Granthe Pratipaditam. This is how was said in the Adhyasa Bhashya Grantha while discussing Asmat Pratyaya Gochare Vishayani. Sambhavana Bhashya Granthe tu Nayam Tavat Ekantena Vishaya. This was also a discussion that everybody does adhyasa in something that is in front of them. So, purovartini vastuni, some vastu that is in front of you, that alone becomes the adhyasa, adhishthana adhyasa ashraya. Atma is not something in front of you. How can Atma become the locus of adhyasa? Then Bhashyakara said that there is no rule that the locus must necessarily be an object, because space also, which is not an object of perception, also becomes the locus of adhyasa. Like talamalinadi balaha, what adhyasyanti, talam malinam. So this malinam akasham, akash is polluted, or akash is a form, thus the children or the immature people say. And then it is said further, Nayam tavat ekantena avishaya. And it is not that Atma is in absolutely not the Vishaya or that which is unknown. Asmat Pratyaya Vishayatvat. Atma is objectified by Asmat Pratyaya. Asmat Pratyaya means by the concept I. Atma is objectified or revealed by the concept I. Then how is it revealed? Then this was the Sambhavana Bhashya. While discussing Sambhavana, Yogyata of Adhyasa, that Atma can become the locus of Adhyasa, that there can be Adhyasa pertaining to Atma, to show that Sambhavana, Yogyata or possibility, logical possibility, then this was presented. Sambhavana Bhashya Granthedu Tathaiva Upapadidam. Tathaiva, in the same manner essentially, Upapadidam, this was presented. Tathahi bhasamanatvakyam vishayatvam dvidam gaunam mukhyam chaiti. So there was so vishayatvam, the objectivity, or that something is an object of knowledge rather, is twofold. Again, gaunam mukhyam, primary and secondary. Bhasamanatvakyam vishayatvam. Bhasamanatva means that which is revealed. So being revealed. What is an object? That which is revealed. So ghata, pata, matha, all of them they shine. Let us say, all the objects shine. So when the object shines in front of me, then I know it. And so also, two kinds of shining are there. That an object also shines and Atma also shines. So everyone knows that I am. How do you know that? I am. I exist. That I am conscious. We know that. How do we know that? You don't know that I shine and I exist just as I know this ghata, pata, matha. In that sense that knowledge does not take place, and still knowledge does take place. Na tavadam ekante na vishaya. You cannot, just because Atma cannot become the object of a vritti, doesn't mean that Atma is unknown to us. Atma is known to us. And therefore, Atma is revealed also, Atma is known also. And therefore, since it is not known like ghata-pata, therefore we can say Atma is known, alright, or object of knowledge, not in a primary sense, in a secondary sense. And what is the ultimate result of the knowledge? When I know an object, such as a microphone or a book or a flower or whatever it is, what happens is, as we said yesterday, samshaya viparyaya, that ignorance, some doubt and error pertaining to the object, they get removed. So what knowledge does is to remove samshaya, viparyaya, etc. or ignorance. Avaranam, samshayam, viparyaya of that object are removed by the knowledge. And when there is no doubt in my mind that I am, there is no samshaya that I am, there is no viparya, I never take myself as non-existent now and then. Oh, I forgot that I was, Or I thought that I was not. That never happens. So viparyaya meaning that kind of an error pertaining to I does not happen, that I exist. Or samshaya, am I there or not? That also does not happen. No, Swami, it happens. Am I there or not? But which I? Body is there or not? That happens. Because for you to ask this question, am I there or not? That questioner must be there. So even if sometimes we ask this question, am I there? But who is asking that question? That is I, and therefore that questioner has to be there even to ask this question. So it can never be that there is ever a doubt that I am there. If there is a doubt, there must be about the body, about some personality, whether it is there or not. But of the I there is never doubt. Therefore, that samshaya viparya nivritti rupam phalabhaktvam, that knowledge eliminates the samshaya viparya pertaining to an object. That is there with reference to Atma, because I have no samshaya or viparya with reference to my existence. And therefore Atma is known, you can say. And still Atma is not known like a ghatapata is known. So ghatapata is known in a primary sense, Atma is known in a secondary sense. But if the criterion for an object being known is the removal of samshaya viparya, in that sense Atma is known. If the criterion of the object being known is that is objectified, in that sense Atma is not known. So that's sambhavana bhashya granthe तथा ही भासमानत्वाख्यम विषयत्वम द्विविधम गौणम मुख्यम च. व्हाट इज भासमानत्वाख्यम विषयम? तत्र भान प्रयुक्त फलभागत्व रूपम गौणत्वम. दैट संशय विपर्य निवृत्ति फलभागत्वम. फल मीन्स द रिजल्ट ऑफ द नेचर ऑफ भान प्रयुक्त फल. फल इज व्हाट? संशय विपर्य निवृत्ति रूप फल. दैट आत्मा एंजॉयज. That state which is free from, state of being known, which knowledge is free from samshaya and viparya. So that is also Atma shines, we say. So Atma shines that gaunatvam, bhana bhinnatva vishishthatvam mukhyatvam. Whereas ghata, pata, etc. are what? Are separate from bhanam. So there is this consciousness, and ghata, pata, etc. are revealed by the consciousness. Consciousness is revealing, and ghata, pata are revealed. The light is revealing, and these objects are all revealed, So we say that when you know this object like microphone or book, at that time you know light also. So when microphone or a book or a flower or any object is known, then light also is known. And therefore two things are known. Light is known as reflected light, of course. But light is known nevertheless, so book also is known and light also is known. Except that book is that which is revealed by the light, and light is not revealed by the light because light is self-revealing. So book stands apart from the light in as much as it is revealed by the light, while light does not stand apart from the light because it is revealing. And so also this ghata, pata, etc., all of them are revealed by consciousness. So they stand separate from the bhanam, whereas that consciousness is itself self-revealing and therefore does not stand apart from the bhanam. So bhana bhinnatva vishishthatvam, that ghata, pata, etc., they enjoy the state of being different from bhana or that which reveals, namely self. So therefore ghata, pata are said to enjoy vishayatvam or objectivity in the primary sense, whereas the self enjoys an objectivity only in the object of being known in a secondary sense, in this sense. Asyam bhakkikayam api vishayatvam dvividham. Here also, in this exposition that is being made right now also, vishayatvam dvividham. Also it was said that the vritti abhivekta spurna vishayatvad, etc. and vedanta janya vritti krita avidya nivritti phalashalitvat, number one, and vritti abhivekta spurna avishayatvad. Here also therefore, asyam bhakkikayam api vishayatvam dvividham gaunam mukhyam chairi. So here also, this exposition also presents vishayatvam in two sense. Tatra vritti vyapti rupatvam gaunatvam, that a vritti vyapti rupatvam, that a vritti pervades an object, that is the gauna vishayatvam. Phala vyapti rupatvam mukhyatvam, that a phala or the reflected consciousness reveals an object, that is the objectivity in the primary sense. Tasacha pakshatrayapi, there are three pakshas. What was discussed in the Adhyasak Bhashya, then the Sambhavana Bhashya, and what is being discussed here. So in three places this Jnana Vishayatvam is being discussed. Atmani Gaunamaya Vishayatvam Paryavasitam. Atma in every case becomes the Vishaya in a Gauna or in a secondary sense. Ahankara to Gaunam Mukhyam Chairi. Ahankara becomes the object of knowledge in a secondary sense in the last two cases. And Ahankara becomes also in a way the locus of the object in the first case. So Mukhyam, in that case, Ahankara in the first case can be presented because there was a need to separate Ahankara from Atma. So there Ahankara was presented even as an object, just to separate Atma purely. So when there the Yushmat Pratyaya Gocharatvam and Asmat Pratyaya Gocharatvam, Ahankara also was considered as Yushmat Pratyaya Gochara. even pure ahankara also was presented as that which is in the scope of Yushmat Pratyaya. Because Asmat Pratyaya there was primarily Atma alone. Otherwise, Asmat Pratyaya is Jiva, then you do not have that kind of a distinction between Jiva and Ahankara. So, Yushmat Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayinoho. There Vishayi is presented as what? As pure self. Then Ahankara is presented as what? As Vishaya. So, Jiva also is presented as Vishaya, Ahankara also is presented as Vishaya, and pure consciousness is presented as Vishayi. Otherwise, that Tamah Prakashavad Viruddha Swabhavatvam is not there. And therefore, in that discussion, even that Ahankara also is presented as Vishaya, in a primary sense. And Atma is presented as a Vishayi in a primary sense. To bring about the distinction between the Vishaya and Vishayi, or Asmat and Yushmat, or Tamah and Prakasha. So there, however, Ahankara was presented as a primary object of knowledge, as something objectified, while subsequent discussions presented Ahankara as secondary object of knowledge. But in any case, Atma is always secondarily the object of knowledge. Ahankara depends on how you look at it, depends on what you want to accomplish. May be looked upon as either primarily known or secondarily known, that's all. But Atma in any case, in all the three discussions, is only in a secondary sense the object of knowledge. Okay, so Naidi says Bhashyakara, he said here, so avidya kalpita bheda nivritti paratvat shastrasya. That is being explained. Paratvat phalatvat ityartha Ratna Prabha says. Avidya kalpita bheda nivritti phalatvat. So bheda nivritti phalam is there. Phalam is what? Phalabhaktvam. So what the Shastra accomplishes is, accomplished gives the result. Ultimately what's the result is? Avidya nivritti phalabhaktvam is there. Removal of ignorance about Brahman, that is what is accomplished by Shastra. So in that sense Shastra is pramanam in a gauna sense, not in the mukhya sense. Or nivritti rupa brahma tatparyaditiva artha hai. Nivritti rupa brahma. So avidya kalpita bheda nivritti rupa brahma tatparyatvat shastrasya. Tatparyat shastrasya. Shastra has its tatparya in Brahman. And what is Brahman? Avidya kalpita bheda nivritti rupam Brahma. Because this bheda or the duality is totally non-existent in Brahman. And therefore total removal of the duality also itself is Brahman. Either you can say in Brahman there is a total absence of duality, or Brahman itself is total absence of duality. Either way you can say. Total absence of duality is Brahman, or in Brahman there is a total absence of duality. You can say that on this table there is no pot. There is an absence of pot on the table. Is there an absence of pot on the table, or is table itself the absence of pot? That absence is where has its ashraya on the table, or absence itself is table. There are two ways of looking at it. And so that is what abhavasya adhikarana swarupatvam matvaha. Abhava has its real swarupa in adhikaranam. So ghata abhava or absence of ghata is really this, because you don't see ghata abhava. When you actually see absence of power, what do you see? You see a table. You can say I see a table, or you can say I see the absence of pot on the table. Either way you can see. You can say I see absence of elephant also on the table. You can see absence of millions of things on the table. Ultimately you are seeing only table. So there were some people say that what is abhava? Is nothing but the table itself is abhava or absence of all kinds of things, ghata, or on the table there is absence of ghata. Abhavasya adhikarana swarupatvam. Abhava has its swarupa in adhikaranam, that is what it is. That sarpa abhava is rajju. Or rajvam sarpa abhava, or rajju itself is sarpa abhava. So in Brahman there is absence of duality, or Brahman itself is absence of duality. So either you can say that Shastra has its phala in terms of tatparyam, in terms of revealing Brahman, or tatparya in Brahma itself, both ways. Uktam Vivranoti. Bhashyakara himself explains what he said in that statement. Says Bhashya, Nahi Shastram Idantaya विषयभूतं ब्रह्म प्रतिपिपादयिष्यते. Nahi, not that. Shastram idantaya vishayabhutam brahma. So all you can see, idantaya means primarily vishayatvam is negated. And avidyānavritti paratvat means secondary vishayatvam. So Bhashyakara, when it says, has element of all this phala vyapti and vritti vyapti etc., which prakriyas were developed later on. But all the root is there in these statements of Bhashya. It's very clear. Avidyānavritti rupatvam is there, avidyānavritti phalabhaktvam is there, but then idantaya vishayatvam is not there. So it is not that Shastra presents Brahman or teaches Brahman as something that is known as idam, something that can be objectified. In that manner, Shastra never presents Brahman as an object of knowledge, or doesn't present Brahman as that which can be objectified. Chid vishayatvam idantvam. Again. So that what bhana bhinnatva vishishtatvam, something stands apart from bhanam. And also chid vishayatvam, that chid of the consciousness, so that which is illumined by consciousness, that is object of consciousness. They're all of that will be ultimately dismissed. Inasmuch as they cannot be object of consciousness, because nothing can stand apart from consciousness, and therefore if something has to be an object, it will stand apart from the subject. So nothing can stand apart from the consciousness. Therefore, in that sense, you cannot say that even the objects of the world are objects of consciousness. But if they become objects of consciousness only when consciousness is confined to jivatvam, then alone you can say it stands apart. The ghatapada stands apart from consciousness only if the consciousness is conditioned consciousness. Ghatapada cannot stand apart from pure consciousness, and therefore Mandukya Karika will dismiss where is object. Object is that which can stand apart from consciousness. Object does not stand apart from the vritti. Vritti does not stand apart from the sakshi. And nothing stands apart from sakshi. So very sakshya, very drashya. So there is no drashta. So drashta, drashya, everything is mithya. That is how you establish advitiyatvam. But for the sake of analysis, in the beginning you distinguish between the subject and object. And later on you understand that the object is not something that stands apart from the subject, and therefore object doesn't have pure objectivity. If subject doesn't have pure subjectivity, object doesn't have pure objectivity also. So both subjectivity and objectivity, both of them are not pure, meaning both of them are mithya. And what there is that which is devoid of subjectivity and objectivity. This is the advitiyatvam or non-duality. But anyway, in order to understand the nature of the object or nature of the object of knowledge that Brahman is and Ghatapata is, there is a very important difference there. Because when Ghatajnanam takes place, there is a duality there between the knower and the known. That duality is projected. You know necessarily Ghata is something separate from you. That projection of Bheda is there. And as long as that projection of Bheda remains, as long as the mind continues to project that duality, so long Brahman cannot be known in its true nature. And therefore that Bheda, that projection of the mind will project that duality. When mind stops projecting duality, it is convinced that Nischaya has to take place. That the duality is a projection. It's not again some kind of a process. You stop projecting. And projection happens as long as Nischaya does not take place. When the Nischaya takes place, when the projection does not happen, then alone Brahman is known as the very self. But here it is a chid vishayatvam idantvam, that which is an object of consciousness called idam. In that manner, the Shastra does not present Brahman as object of consciousness. Avishayataya. So, then, further question. Kim tarhi pratyagaatmatvena avishayataya pradipadayata avidya kalpitam vedya veditru vedanadi bhedam apanayati. Kim tarhi? Nai Shastram idantaya Vishayabhutam Brahma Pratipipadeshadi. Shastra does not desire to present Brahman as an object which is idam. Brahman is that which can be objectified. In that manner, Shastra has no intention to present Brahman. Kim tarahi? How does Shastra present Brahman then? Pratyekatmatvena. Since Brahman is very Pratyekatma, the very self. Avishayataya Pratipadayata. Every time, how does Shastra does Pratipadanam? How does Shastra teach or reveal Brahman? Pratyekatmatvena neti neti iti. So, since Shastra presents Brahman as the very self, therefore all the notions of the objectivity are negated. Shastra also says you are Brahman, but since about I also have so many notions, since I think that I am a Sthula, Asthuloham, Krushoham, Dirgoham, Hrasvoham or whatever it is, therefore Shastra says Asthula, Mananu, Hrasvam, Nadirgham, because even about I also there are many notions. It is not enough to say that you are Brahman. But you, who are you? You are not this and you are not that. That also needs to be said. Because about I also there are so many notions. So you are not this and you are not that. Therefore, all along Shastra present Brahman is what? Neti, neti, neti. What is neti, neti? Vishayatvam is negated. You try to objectify the I as a fat, lean man, woman, and therefore you objectify Brahman as something great. All objectification is being negated by neti, neti, neti. Adreshyam, agrahyam, agotram, avarnam, achakshushrotram, tadapanipadam. In this manner. Na antah prajnam, na bahish prajnam, no bhayatah prajnam, na prajnam, na prajnana ghanam. This negation. Even when we think of the words of Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, all of them ultimately ultimately turn out to be only negating some concept, because about Satya, these words are commonly used. So whenever the word Satya or the truth is used, we already have a certain concept about that Satya. The word Jnanam also is commonly used, the word Anantam also is commonly used, and therefore Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam words are used in this manner in conjunction with one another, in order again to negate some kind of conceptualization which presently obtains in our mind with reference to these words. And therefore all along the Shruti wants to only negate any conceptualization, objectification of Brahman. So avishayataya pratipadayat. While Shastra presenting Brahman as avishayataya, pratyekatma, because Brahman is a very pratyekatma, and therefore Brahman is presented by Shastra as avishayam, neti, neti, neti. And therefore, avidya kalpitam vedya veditru vedanadi bhedam apanayati. That Brahman is taken to be vedyam as something that is different from me. Nedam yadidam upasate, nedam yadidam upasate. Idam means vedyam. It is not idam, it is not vedyam. So when vedya is not there, then vetta also is not there. As long as vetta is there, so long vedya is there. So that vetrutvam also has to go, or veditritvam has to go. There is a vedita. So knower. As long as knower is there, ahamyam, what is it? Vrittayastvaham vrittimashritaha. Or idam vrittaya aham vrittimashritaha. All idam vrittis, or the objects of form, thoughts, can be there only when that I thought is there first. And that I thought is what? Ahankara vishishta chaitanyam. That ahankara. As long as that is there, then alone, so long alone, there can be the concept of idam or drishya. So vedya and veta, both of them have to go together. Because as long as veta or the knower, there is always something known. I don't know anything, alright, that also something is there. So some knowingness is always there as long as the veta is there. So vedya, vedritu, vedanadika bhedam apanayati. What the Shastra means to say that this duality of the knower and the known and the knowledge, that also is false. All these three also spring from one alone. And that is Brahman, that is Pratyekatma, that is the truth. And this is how Shastra always seeks to eliminate that duality between the knower and the known. So Brahman is known alright, but not known as that which stands apart from the knower. And that kind of a knowledge which involves the duality of the knower and the known, Shastra all the time negates that duality in that knowledge. That Shastra does not negate knowledge as such, but Shastra negates the knowledge that involves the duality of the knower and the known, In that manner, Shastra represents Brahman as Avishayam, as the Pratyagatma. Adrushyatve Shrutimaha. How do you say that? Brahma is Adrushyam Shrutimaha. Says Bhashyakara, Tatha cha Shastram Yasya Matam Tasya Matam Matam Yasya Navedasaha Avijñātam Vijānatam Vijñātam Avijānatam Na Društehe Drashtaram Pashyehe Na Vijñātehe Vijñātaram Vijāniyaha Idi Chaiva Madi Tathacha Shastram, and this is what? Shastra. So Kenopanishad is very profusely quoted here because it's so relevant to this particular discussion. Yasya matam tasya matam matam yasya navedasaha. Yasya matam, says Ratnaprabha, yasya brahma amatam. One for whom Brahman is unknown. What is meant by unknown? Chaitanya avishayaha iti nishchayaha. It's only nishchaya. Again, it's not seeing. Don't think that you will see non-duality. That non-duality will be something seen or experienced. Nobody can experience non-duality. Who will experience? Moment you have to experience, there is a duality created right at the very need for experience. Or that process of experience, so don't think that you will see duality and non-duality. You will experience non-duality. There is only nischaya about non-duality. You cannot experience. But then there is nischaya. That's right. Duality is false. Non-duality alone is right. That nischaya. So Chaitanya Vishaya iti nischaya. Because you cannot see Brahman as Avishaya, Suppose you want to see Brahman as non-object, what do you mean by that? The very attempt of seeing is to try to objectify it. And therefore, this is of course the samskara in the mind. That is from the Anadi Kala. Always to objectify. In the process of knowledge also, there is a natural attempt on the part of the mind to objectify. That's Naisargika Adhyasa. Ahamidam, that's the first object, that's first Adhyasa. And therefore, the everything is presented only as separate from me. Yasya amadam, but the one for whom there is this nischaya, that Brahma is not Chaitanya Vishaya, tena matam, tena samyak avagatam. He alone, that nischaya is arising in whom that Brahman is the very self. So that can happen only when the notions about the self are not there. Not that miserable self is Brahman. That, yes, all these kind of notions are there, also false. And therefore, this complete being I am. Not that I see a complete being in front of me. I see myself as a complete being. So, this nischaya has arisen. Meaning one has stopped hurting oneself constantly. Atma tiraskara, Atma hananam, or superimposition on the Atma, which is also naisargikam. It's nobody's fault that we do that. That people do this upon the self is not the fault. But here when the Vedantins try to all the time even refute this karma, is in the very process of karma or upasana, there is a superimposition upon the I, that I am an upasaka, otherwise you cannot do upasana. That I am a karta, unless that superimposition is there, this karma cannot be. Unless I am a dhyata, that superimposition is there, dhyana or meditation cannot be. So no kriya will take place unless there is first a superimposition of individuality upon the self. And that habit ultimately to come out sometime. Therefore, one has to come out of that habit. We seek security in assuming the role of a dhyata or a karta, apparently. So we find some security that I am fine because there is somebody who is dhyeya vishaya and I am under his protection. He is my refuge. So that is how we want security from a refuge, therefore it is convenient for me to assume the role of a refugee. But therefore, if that is the idea, then that should be stopped. If you know that you are not a refugee, that the refugee-tvam or the refugee-ness also is false, and this prayer is meant for removal of the refugee, then it's okay. But by the process of prayer, if you want to continue or perpetuate the refugee, then that the Vedantins don't like because it defeats the purpose. Then that is that vairagya is not because refugee you want to remain. That means that some fascination is there somewhere which you want. So that shows there is a lack of, some subtle lack of vairagya again. Or vichara. Vairagya means lack of that vichara. So this habit of naturally imposing that kartratvam or dhyatratvam, also one has to slowly and slowly come out. One cannot come out of throwing it away, as people say, throw away. That also cannot be, throwing away also is a karma. And it's such a strong karma, then that's alright. But when it is said throw away means understand that this also has to go. So don't hang on to it. If you see the need of it, alright, do it. But understand that you will someday come out of that need also. Or that one has to grow out of the need also. And that is how. So that also is the intention behind this discussion. That, vadantu shastrani, kurvantu karmani, yajantu deva, all this yajanam, karanam, etc. is there. But as long as atmaikatva bodha does not take place, so long, so atmaikatva bodha must take place. Until then the knowledge doesn't come. So there is always an emphasis again and again on that also. So refuting karma is in order to strike at the very habit. That natural or the habit is there of becoming karta. It is karta that is struck against, and not karma. Poor karma has not done anything wrong. But since karma cannot be unless karta is, or since dhyanam cannot be unless dhyata is, and the dhyata and karta are the products of natural superimposition, and you don't notice it. It is so natural that it remains unnoticed. It is taken for granted. And if you don't notice it, and if you take it for granted, that means the first barrier is already there. And therefore, even that should not be taken. Therefore, attention is always pointed out, drawn there. That understand that whenever you do something, a superimposition is involved. Make note of that. And if you don't make note of that, if you think that that is right, then it will never become wrong. Because a wrong thing becomes right by calling it right. The world becomes satyam not because it is satyam, because I call it satyam, that's all. It doesn't need more than that. To call brand a given thing, that thing becomes. As far as I am concerned, anyway. So yasya amatam chaitanya vishayati nischaya tena samyak avagatam. By that one, it is well known, properly known. Yasya matvatam yasya navedasa. Yasya tu agnyasya brahma chaitanya vishayati matam. One on the other hand, one who thinks that Brahman is chaitanya vishaya, meaning that which is known by chaitanya, known by the knower. Sanaveda, he does not know. He is probably confusing some devata with Brahman. So perhaps he thinks that I know Brahman. When you know Brahman is that you are a knower of Brahman, in which case Brahman that is known always is some Vishishta. Some Vishesha must be there, and then that is not Brahman in as much as Alpam. Dharameva pinunam tvam vetta brahmana rupam yadasya tvam yadanu deveshu asanu mimam samevate. Yadi manyase suvedeti, if you say that you know Brahman very well, dharameva pinunam tvam vetta brahmana rupam, then you know Brahman only in a very limited form. Only an insignificant or limited aspect of Brahman you know. What you know is Brahman, no doubt. Because there is nothing other than Brahman, so whatever you know is Brahman also. But that is what? Small Brahman, meaning smallness is imposed upon Brahman, and that's how you know. Asanu mimam samevade. Then I guess that you need to deliberate upon this further. Uktameva dardhyartham anuvadati shruti. Anuvadati means shruti swayameva anuvadati, not bhashyakara. Shruti herself is anuvada. This is 2 lines of the first mantra. What is stated in the first line alone, dardhyartham. In order to make it drada, in order to make it firm, the Shruti herself repeats or reiterates that idea. In other words, avijñātam vijñānatam, vijñātam avijñānatam. So some people look upon the second line as anuvada. It can also be looked upon as hetu. Since avijñātam vijñānatam, vijñātam avijñānatam, therefore yataha, tataha, yasya matam, tasya matam, matam yasya navedasa. Both these pakshas are presented there in the bhashya. So avijñātam vijñānatam avishayataya brahma vijñānatam avijñātam adrushyam iti pakshaha. So those who know Brahman is avishaya, then for they say that we do not know Brahman. This is their pakshaha. This is how they present their knowledge. Ajñānam tu brahma vijñātam drishyam iti pakshaha. Those who do not know Brahman in its true nature say that we know Brahman. Meaning they think they know Brahman, where Brahman is something which is qualified. अविज्ञातमिति ज्ञानिनां पक्षः, विज्ञातमिति अज्ञानिनां पक्षः इति विवेकः. So this is how paksha is there. Avishayatve udahartam shrutyantram vyachashte. And then another shruti also is presented here, which also presents Atma as avishaya. Na drashte drashtaram pashyehe. You cannot see na pashyehe. You do not see drashte drashtaram. Drishti means seeing. Drashte is sixth case of drishti. Drashtaram, the seer of that seeing, you cannot see. You cannot see the seer of the seeing. The vijñātehe vijñātāram vijāniyaha, same thing. Vijñāti, he is knowing. Vijñātaru is the knower. You cannot know the knower of the knowing. You cannot see the seer of the seeing, and so forth. Drashte drashtaram. Drashti is what? Chakshusha manovrittihi. Drashti is seeing. I say that I see a flower. So when do I see the flower? When a vritti of the nature of flower takes place. How does that vritti take place? When I see the flower by my eyes. So it is eyes or chakshu which is responsible for generating that vritti of the nature of flower. So that flower vritti or flower thought is called chakshusha vritti, because it is generated by chakshu. So chakshusha janyam is chakshusham, that is generated by chakshu. So chakshusha vritti is called drashti. So I see flower. The seeing of the flower is what? That vritti actually. So chakshusha manovrittehe sakshinam drashtaram means what? The one who is a witness of this chakshusha manovritti, witness of this, the flower thought, a witness of the pot thought, a witness of any thought. Anaya drushyaya drushtya na pashyehe. You cannot see by this vritti the seer of that vritti. Vritti itself is drushya, and that is called drashti. What we call drashti is this chakshusha vritti or ghata vritti. But ghata vritti itself is drushya in as much as itself is illumined by the sakshi. So drushyaya drushtya, that drishti of the nature of chakshusha vritti, which itself is drushya or of the nature of that which is illumined, by that you cannot see the very witness. Meaning you cannot see the witness by a thought. Vijñātehe na vijñātehe vijñātāram vijāniyaha. Vijñātehe buddhivrittehe